Hello and welcome to the Redcar Rewind. The Bears have toppled the Cheetahs and ended their undefeated run. Redcar Regalia Bears 48, Oxford Cheetahs 42. Boy, what a match.
Yeah, had everything, didn't it? Again, a bit like last week, it sort of toed and froed a little bit. We sort of had our noses in front for a while later on. And then obviously they hit back towards the end, and I did for a split second think, oh, it's just not going to go to a super heat or anything, is it? But Danny had got a bike working really well. Charles had just been Charles all night. So I did think 15 we could at least split them, which would have obviously give with a win, and that's what happened. Yeah, brilliant.
So, as we always run through, so starting off with Danny King. Danny King, who seemed to lack a little bit of speed at the start, then, as you said, got things working and got 10, and in two of the races won by quite a margin. Yeah,
his first bike just didn't work. It's a bike he used last week. For some reason, I don't know whether it was the temperatures, the atmosphere, whatever, but yeah, it just felt flat. And it showed, I think, in the first one. You've never seen Danny ever give up at the back, but he just wasn't going anywhere. He tried a couple of changes for a second one and it didn't make any difference, so he jumped on a second bike. And yeah, the difference was unbelievable.
Daniel Hume, around the boards again, 6+1 on a 5.24. You cannot complain with that.
Not at all. Daniel will give you 110%. There's times you can pull your hair out if I had any. Because I think that his last race, and we chatted about it, probably if he just settled for third, and the points that we really need at that time of the match. But, this is a racer who's just out and out, and it goes through his head, but that's after sort of the checkered flag. He's like, Gav, I probably should have settled for third. But, do you know what it is 150% effort, so I'll never complain at that.
Just break between the riders here. I thought the atmosphere tonight was absolutely superb. Would you agree?
Yeah. Do you know what it is? And I've said it before, and I've put it into print in my programme column. We have got the best supporters in the country. We might have as many as, say, Oxford or whatever, but our supporters are the loudest. The cheer you, the help you. They're the best supporters in the country, I would say.
Moving on, Connor Bailey, 7+1, and I don't know about you, but it kind of went under the radar, but that's the improvement he's been making.
Yeah, you don't notice it if you get 7+1 now, do you? You just expect it. Connor's in Poland at Bellevue, and here is just a different ride. He's just riding full of confidence, and I think that, as we've said before, that all stemmed from him starting with Workington and getting big points in the development league. All of a sudden, he believed in himself. He believed in his equipment. And now, what's 7+1? And you just think, well, this is what you expect now, don't you? And he's riding, as you say, at number 3. So, yeah, brilliant performance.
Do you believe, before he started with Workington, there may have been some teams in the championship who thought we can get better and got rid?
Maybe, yeah. Obviously, he didn't. To be fair, his name had been mentioned when we were building the team, but we just expected him being back at Glasgow. He'd been at Glasgow, and we didn't expect, and then we went down the James Shane's line.
The chicken man,
yeah, Bartosz the chicken. But and then obviously with what happened with James, it was like nobody snapped up Connor Bailey. And it took 5 minutes to do a deal with him. He was fantastic from the start, and he's a model professional. His mum comes with him everywhere, and she's amazing, supports him everywhere. And he's been an absolute pleasure, and he's just getting faster and faster on a bike.
Eric Riss, a bit of a disappointing night for Eric, 3+1. Any reason for that, do we know?
He just couldn't get his bike going. I think like them all, like Danny early doors. I don't know if the track was it wasn't particularly wet. It wasn't particularly grippy compared to last week. We tried to prepare exactly the same, and just bikes just didn't see. I don't know if it was because it was so muggy and warm. I don't know, but Eric beats himself up at times as well, and I think he had a bad first ride, and then all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It's like it's an uphill struggle for him, and he's just struggling with the bikes. And it's nothing to do with Eric. Eric's absolutely fine. Just bikes today just weren't working for some reason.
Right, halfway through, we were this week joined by an opposition member, so we've got JJ the Jet Jordan Jenkins, and he is going to join me now. And now we're joined by former Bear, Bears asset, and now Cheetah, Jordan Jenkins. Jordan, 7+1 for you tonight. A bit of an up and down one. Happy with how it went overall or not?
Yeah, to come here and get 2 wins is not bad. Obviously, I haven't been here since was it the Tyne-Tees Trophy or Silver Helm at the end of last year? I can't remember. But yeah, it's a up and down night. 2 wins, a paid second and a last. I had good speed tonight. Just struggled off the start, so we made a few changes and it got better as the night went on.
Cheetahs defeated for the first time this season. They have had a fantastic run. Has that surprised you, but how long it's taken to be defeated, especially because you have 1-4 on the bounce away from home as well?
No, I don't think so. I know we're a good team. We've got a solid outfit, and the team spirit in the camp is unreal, and I've been in a team like it. Enjoying every second of it. I think that's the big thing that's pushing us on as a team. And I don't think we can be disappointed about tonight to lose it by 6 against Redcar. Got a good team. If that was in the playoffs, we'd take that and we'd do the business back home. But it's been a decent night, and with Henry took a knock tonight, and Cam's not his usual self. Obviously missing Scotty, but Ben done a good job. And you just got to think, if we had Louis here as well, it would have been, I don't know, maybe a few points closer, or and the luck went our way with tapes exclusions, then it would have been all right.
Overall, are you happy with how your season's going though?
100%, I can't complain. It was a tricky decision to move away from Redcar. Obviously, I love my time here, but for one reason or another, and it's not financial reasons, everything just fell into place a lot nicer. I was originally going to Poland on Tuesday, Peterborough on a Monday, and so Oxford would have worked better for me on a Wednesday, flying into Stansted. I'm halfway there. I fly in at a reasonable time every Wednesday, and then I'd sort of have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and for me, resting for 4 days then is more beneficial, and allowed me to have someone to help me with the bikes. So if I'd stayed at Redcar, I'd have been riding, washing every day of the week, and I wouldn't have had a day off. So I just think people need to understand that, and it for me this year logistically it worked better, and I can't complain with how it's gone. Steady at the start at Oxford. I was a bit worried about my perform. I think I had a few 1 and 2 pointers, and that wasn't me, and I wasn't very happy with it. But I got my head around things, and I seem to just be on form, I guess, and I can win races everywhere I go, and I think that's showing lately, and it's a big confidence boost.
Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll see you back here later in the season.
Thank you.
Bears win though, wonderful there.
Yeah, wonderful for the Bears, but 6 points, we can take that, and aggregate point for the Cheetahs.
Thank you very much. Back here for the second part of the Rewind with Gavin Parr. Gavin running through the rest of the side. Charles Wright with 9+2 with an absolutely sublime second ride where he passed Carl Howarth after looking like he'd scrubbed his speed at one stage and then just went round him like he wasn't there.
Yeah, I thought he was coming off at one stage, to be fair. I think all legs were off foot pegs and everything. He was turned inside out, Von I. And for a second I thought, he's going down. But he managed. And then the flatline speed he had to catch up and then to pass Kyle was fantastic. It's what I expect from the skipper. I chat to him like nearly every other day. And he's brimming.
We do too.
He's brimming with confidence at the minute. And it shows, he's riding well for Bellevue and for us. And again, he'll a bit like Daniel, he'll give you 110% and he'll put it right on the line every single race.
I think what's worrying for the opposition is that's not his best. There is more to come when it gets further on in the season.
Yeah, he's average. He goes to number 1 from next week. So Danny drops to 5 and he goes to number 1. And he'll just relish it. He will. It's just where he deserves to be. This season, he's been back to his. I would say this so far has been one of his very best seasons.
Do the reserve stay the same? Yes.
Yeah. So Connor now. Jason's average has actually gone up, I think, a little bit. But obviously, so has Connor's. So they stay exactly the same. The team stays the same, apart from Danny and Charles. They'll swap 1 and 5.
Okay, thank you. Right, Jason Edwards, what a night for the Billericay Blaster. A sublime ride in Heat 2 to beat Cameron Heaps and keep Luke Harrison at the front, and paid 10.8+2 for Jason.
Yeah, he's a bit like Connor, isn't he? You don't sort of notice him because he's not hanging off the fence and he's not, he just does what Jason does, and he does it really well. He was getting some really good flatline speed tonight. Andy was using the outside a lot more. You know, I think that 5-1 him and Connor got, he spent 3 laps on the outside of Connor, and now Jason of a few weeks ago probably wouldn't have been as comfortable out there, but now he is definitely learning and he's getting dialed in. And yeah, absolute, brilliant performance. So happy.
Becoming more polished and more rounded as a rider, would you agree?
He is, yeah, because you know, like Jason, I keep stats of everything. That's how geeky I am. And Jason, up to I think probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, had 80-something% of his points from gate 2, from 1 and 2. So that's only about 15%, not even 15% points from 3 and 4. That to me tells, Jason loves the inside. But now he's starting to let the bike run into the corners from gates 3 and 4, and he's quite happy out there in the dirt. Like, I think the bike lifted tonight in one of them. I don't know if it was one of the 5-1s he got, but he just rode it and he did a Charles. He sort of let it get right near the fence. Now, a few weeks ago, Jason would have been backing off and he would have been like, I've got a nosebleed out here, But now he just let that bike run and he never dropped the speed at all. And just confidence again,
And moving on to the man of the match for tonight, kind of the half-permanent guest, Luke Harrison with 5. He really enjoyed that heat too, didn't he?
He loved it. He said he was going to send it. That was his words to us. He went, Gav, I'm off 4 and I'm just going to send it. He says, and if I come out the other side still on the bike, I'll be doing all right. that was his words, and he did, didn't he? And it just filled him with confidence. He was against riders tonight, which is a lot of teams have got that. He's beaten at National League level. Ryan Kinsley's beaten at National League level. If they'd brought Luke Killeen and he's beat him at National League level. Berwick tomorrow night, he's beat them at National League level. So I think that's a confidence thing for kids as well, is that, there's no reason you've stepped up to the championship, but still the same riders that you've beaten. And he just doesn't look out of place already. Like, what is he? Just turned 16. Second match, and that's what he's got. You know what I mean? Second home match, beg your pardon. And he looks, obviously, as long as Jake's out, he's like a permanent fixture in the team.
He's scary if he continues on that path, what he could be like in even 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. He's a big prospect. He's a level-headed. His dad's like hugely level-headed. Got his feet stuck to the ground. He won't get above his station. But I think you've got to have that little bit of cockiness about you. You've got to expect to do well. And he's just got that little edge that says, like, I'm going to do this. He said that in Heat 2. I'm going to send it, and if I get out of that second bend still on the bike, I'm going to win this. And that was his words, and he did it. And there's no reason why to have a bit of confidence like that.
Is he already better than Gavin Parr and Jamie Swells?
Oh, he's much better than me. I never made it round bend 2. I was normally embedded in the air fence somewhere. Jamie rode at a bit of a better level than me, so I'll let you ask him. But he's certainly far better than I ever was, definitely.
And let's look at the gates like we usually do. Gate 4 proved rather profitable tonight. When I was talking to Jamie in the pits, he was quite surprised that they chose 1 and 3 for E15. Did you go along with that?
Yeah, massively, to be fair. I thought we would have been stuck off 1 and 3. One, I don't like Johnny watered it today, but one for some reason just seems to have gone off. I don't know what's happened. Last week it was too dry, so this week he put plenty of water on it. But I don't know. Gate 1 should be the best gate, not just because you're on the inside, but also nobody rides there. Gate 3 and 4 where people ride over, you think would go off later on, which is fair enough. But gate 1, for some reason, just doesn't seem to be working at the minute. I don't know if it's driving to the corners a little bit. You might jump the start, but then not get the drive to the corner. But for some reason, yeah. So when they took 1 and 3, it was over the moon. Charles wouldn't really make a decision. Danny wouldn't really make a decision. And I just thought, there's Charles bombing round the outside, I could just see. And as it happens, it was Danny who got from 2 and made an absolute cracker of a start. And yeah, the rest is history.
And let's get a man of the match from you from the Cheetahs.
Do you know what it is? Like, you could easily go for your sort of masters. Ben Basso's brilliant round here, but he's not a cheater, so I'm not going to go with. I'm going to go. I know he had a one sort of bad ride, I think, when his partner got in the way, but I'm going to have to go for JJ Jordan Jenkins,
our old friend JJ. Yes, he did ride well, as we had him on earlier. So we're now off to Berwick, and this will be going out at 3 o'clock, so 4 hours. You'll be looking for a away win.
I better, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything else, because Jade's sitting on some beach in Mallorca, ready to have a go at me, I'm sure, if we don't. We've got a brilliant record. I think we've won the last 6 or 7 times up with Berwick, but do you know what it is? And they're a little bit wounded. They've got a couple of guests in, I think, but you never ever take anybody on the home track for granted. And we'll be going up there tomorrow expecting a hard-fought match. But let's hopefully carry on after today and get 2 points, 3 points, because we've had them here, and march on towards those playoffs.
Right, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Gavin, for joining us. Hopefully the Bears can add more points to their league tally at Shieldfield Park. Thank you and good night.